I am sad to say that somebody on our team took issue with one of the clubs, the Bible Club, and so called an atheist organization and asked them to get an attorney to sue the district over this. So I don't know that they requested that, but that's what happened. A letter from the attorney came to our superintendents saying that there's a Bible club that is, well, without going into details of the letter, I will just tell you that the first casualty in any kind of a political, ideological argument from someone like this, the first casualty is always the truth. And so the letter from the attorney was laced with lies about what the Bible Club really is. So said it wasn't student-led. Said that I was actually leading it. I've never been in there. I don't even know the student, being one student in the Bible Club. Talked about people being paid for it. Nobody's being paid for any club at the school, anywhere in the district. That's the same. So there were a lot of lies told there. But that being said,
Mr. Cole, I don't think that was exactly.
Well, let me finish. Let me finish, and I'll throw out there what
I have a problem with the word lies.
Okay.
Big time.
Misinformation. I apologize. Misinformation. So that being said, we've got a call, and all clubs have been shut down at Willard, effective today.
Which wasn't really necessary.
Here's the reason. There are two ways to go with this. Either you have clubs or you don't have clubs. That's the constitutional right of all students. Okay. And so if you have clubs at a site, you've got to include everybody's right to have a club. If a student wants to start a club, they have the right to start a club. Absolutely. If they don't want to start a club, that's fine too. If they want to be in a club, that's fine too. We cannot say we're going to have some clubs, oh, these group of students came up to start a club, we don't like that group, therefore they can't have one. Okay. The clubs have to be student-run. So here's the idea. I came back with, how long do we need to shut down clubs? And the response was, well, you need to make sure that at Willard, all clubs have the same rights, everything just has the same process. I said, I believe we have a pretty fair process, but we don't have it through ASB yet. And actually, Laura and I had talked a month ago when the clubs were starting up to say, we need to define through ASB what clubs should look like at Willard. Okay. So Laura is working with ASB on that. How do clubs get started is the question. And who votes in clubs and doesn't vote in clubs and that sort of thing. So ASB's working on that. What will club bylaws look like? They do have to have officers, that kind of thing. Okay? So once that comes together, we can go back to the district and say, we've got a set pattern for how all clubs start every time, just like a high school does. And then we can have all clubs that currently exist apply to ASB to start the clubs back up again. And then if ASB approves that, then those clubs are in existence. But we need to make it really clear to ASB that we're not selecting clubs we like and we don't like. It's all clubs or it's no clubs. That's the constitutional right of students. We cannot cut them off because we don't like what they're saying in their clubs or what they're doing in their clubs. Okay? Good. I hope you guys, I just want to inform you guys that that's what's happened. It's not meant to be a attack in any way. We just need to know what's going on.
Compact hours. That's the way we're talking.
Right. Yes.
I was about to go to ASB about the thick club. What do I do?
You need to hold off, and ASB will make a decision about what clubs should look like.
Okay.
We're going over bylaws tomorrow in our meeting. So basically what ASB is saying, and for this, we've been working on this, just kind of talking about it, but we haven't necessarily put everything together yet. So I'm hoping by next week we'll kind of have everything settled, and then by the time we get that, we'll have a process for anybody who wants to start any type of club. Whether, I mean, you guys want to, I'll probably convince my kids to start like a Harry Potter club or something. Sure. But, yeah, I know, right? But anyway, I'm just saying, so that way, and then you guys will get that information as quickly as I can get it to you. I mean, I can only move as fast as my students move also with this. So I can't exactly say, no, this is what we're going to do with them. It's their decision. So as soon as I get that for you guys, then you guys will have the ability to apply, come to ASB, ask for approval, and then we can give you approval for that as long as you have certain people who, you have a president, or you have like, somebody who will come in and come to ASB and inform us of the things that you are doing, such as fundraisers. If you want to plan that, you definitely have to get that approved from ASB, certain things like that. So as soon as I know exactly what's happening, I will let y'all know.
Thank you, Laura.
So, if in fact I have a president that's ready to serve, and I don't involve myself at all, if I give the president a box of chess sets, so I'm not involved at all, can they just play chess at lunch
Or can they not call it a club and just say my classroom's open to play games?
You know, that's not really the issue. It was the teacher-led prayer
Right.
groups. Kids can pray. Teachers can pray. It was the teacher-led prayer group that was. Now, many districts handle it in many different ways. It does not mean that you can't have clubs. It doesn't mean that you can't have a Christmas tree. What it means that adults can pray before school, after school, lunch. Kids can do a group that is student-led where they go into the lunch area or out by the flag or anywhere. But teachers may not be involved with or lead or participate in religious-based groups because it even has the look that it's a government-sponsored thing.
Well, and it's just like we can't be the Young Republicans Club
Correct.
or the Dynamo Democrats Club. For
So
the same
hopefully
reason.
the
I'm guessing
information
that's
I
what
gave
the
you,
Charles Darwin.
But let me make sure
I'm
that we're all clear that
I'm
there's
not
no such
sure.
thing as a club in junior high, that students know how to run things.
Well-
In all clubs, I mean, imagine the chess club saying, let's
What
start
are
a
you
club."
trying to say?
but that doesn't mean that you have to eliminate all clubs.
They find somebody who has a passion, and they say to that person, will you be our advisor? And they go to ASB and say, can we be a club? And this is for everybody in this room. If you'd like to start a club of any kind, okay,
True.
you have the, I should say you, if the
Separation
students want to
of
start
church
club
and
of any kind, and they ask you to be an advisor of it, they have that right, okay? And we can't pick and choose. It is, I just believe that it is a very fundamental violation of our human rights to tell a group of students that we don't like what you're doing. We don't like that
Really?
you're doing it with adults in the classroom.
So you mean kids don't know how to pray on their own? They can't get together, you have to
So-
teach them how to
Well,
pray?
is it prayer or is it Bible study? Those, to me, those are two different things.
Well,
I need clarification.
Teacher-led, anything
Bible
having
is
to do with the
literature,
religion
You know,
is the issue.
Let's do hands in the air just so that we're fair with it.
Just a question, I guess, or clarification. In my understanding is for kids to be able to get together in an organized fashion,
Simple way to
they
explain it
have
is a
to
separation of church and
have
state.
an
I mean,
adult
that's what it comes down to.
supervising
You can't
or
teach
being
Charles Darwin.
the
Wait,
presence. So
Darwin.
they can't just get together outside and do anything or get together in a classroom. So if they want to meet, they actually have to have an advisor or else they can't actually do that or they'll be shooed away. You're not allowed to be here.
Well, can't they do it out in the
I
lunch
understand what
area?
you're saying about maybe the teaching of it, but if the kids want it and there's someone, an adult at least has to be in the room with them, or they can't legally be in the room.
They could go out to the field.
But then so would the church, do they have
Yeah.
to?
And,
They can have a
but you
club.
know, it's not the same thing.
It's-
Clubs are not the
The
same.
goal, I think we would all agree here that the goal is to enable our students to be leaders, to exercise their passions, and to connect with adults and say, we need some help with you leading us on this. And if the students make that decision, they have a right in our country to make that decision.
But the Supreme Court has said not with religion.
Okay, so the thing with clubs is every single club needs to have an advisor. Now the issue is whether or not that teacher is allowed to lead them as far as that. And so the purpose of an advisor is to supervise. It's not to tell the kids what to do or how to do it. As far as ASB goes, we're not technically a club, so I can't fall under that. But when clubs come to meetings and such, you have your president of that club for that particular reason. Now, if their kids want to get together and they want to have a club, where they can read Bible or pray or anything like that. A teacher definitely has to be present for that because it is a club. You need an advisor. Now, they can do it in the classroom, but that teacher is not necessarily the one leading them in it. They have to have that president of that club to lead them. So the teacher is completely out of it, but that group of kids is allowed to practice that in a classroom, you know, wherever they need to practice that, but they have to have that advisor with them. So that's where it's getting, because that teacher technically should not be involved, should not be the one leading that club. That president, who that club votes on, should be the one leading that club, and the teacher can sit in there, make sure the kids are doing, you know, not messing around and doing stuff that they'll hurt themselves or something, and eat their lunch. You know.
I'm just sure that, you know, there's a law that's gonna tell us exactly, you know, what is acceptable according to the law and what is not. And it may be the law needs to change. Because if the club is gonna make the students better people, you know, and does it not allow, you know, a Jewish club and an Islamic club and whatever. So, you know, maybe that the law needs to change.
This is Supreme Court decision.
Well, that's right, it doesn't have anything to do with
Without,
us.
we've already
saying
kind of pushed over, and the idea was not to have a debate here, but we just need to be aware. I would end with this, and then we do need, I apologize to you guys over time, so we'll end with one comment, and then we'll move on to one last presentation that Paul and Lloyd have, which should take 2 minutes, and then we'll be done, you guys. Okay? Thank you very much. But I would end with this. Yeah, that's the last conversation. It'll take 2 minutes. We'll be good. The last thing I want to say is that you know, many people came to me and said, had questions about this, and were hearing a buzz, and said, hey Dennis, we've been hearing this and this and this, and I was able to correct a lot of that misinformation. But come talk to me, or come talk to somebody. You know, just I don't think it's ever healthy when we ask somebody else to step in and raise a student.
Well, I do have some issues with the liar.
We
And I did actually go through the right steps. I went through the union.
I actually didn't know it was you, so I appreciate you
Well,
stepping on doing this. Go ahead.
If you didn't know it was me,
So,
you should have asked about it. So I went through the union went through the district. I disagreed with the union. I pursued it. I told the union I was going to pursue it. I'm sure the union told the district they were going to pursue it. And I really have a major issue with saying one person, because actually I'm standing for millions here. And I really have issues with the word liar.
well, I apologize. You're absolutely right. I should not have used such strong language, and I apologize.
And all that information on
But-
what it was based on.
I will say that I've spoken to the district and I've spoken to Sue Mercer, and in every case, when I responded to the allegations, they said, wow, that's very different than what we've been hearing. So that's all I'm saying. We do need to get moving. I want to restrict time here, so Paul and Lloyd, would you guys want to share about compact towers on a lighter tone?
Yeah, this is how they're gonna get people.
Well, this is gonna be a quick informational deal, and then I think they have an idea on Tuesday on how to.
And it's going to have to do with money issues that were involved with the clubs.
Well, there's been a lot of issues too. Like if I was to teach a class on Darwinism, there's going to be a backlash about that because it's teaching evolution or anti-Semite club. I mean,
Constitution covers that. The
separation of church and
decisions
state.
do cover that.
Dennis asked me to join Lloyd. No, that's okay. So my first thing was to go back and pull a copy of the teacher compact so that I make sure that the language is here, that the language is clear, and that I can tell you also as one of your site reps, my understanding, the understanding I'm getting from Susan Mercer, and I can take issues back to Susan, back to the union if they need to be raised. But to me, one of the key phrases that it's clear to me is not being understood in the compact that we signed is professional obligations in addition to the district teacher contract. Our district teacher contract calls for us to be here from 7:30 to 2:30 Monday through Friday. So anything that we are doing in those hours 7:30 to 2:30, yes.
We have a professional day.
So that, during our professional day, anything we are doing during our professional day is not part of the professional compact. In addition to those professional hours, we have hours in our contract, the buyback hours, and forgive me, I don't know the exact number of buyback hours this year. The things that are done during those buyback hours, those are also contractual hours and will not count toward the 20 hours and the 10 hours in the compact. Yes?
I specifically remember asking this question, and the talk of double dipping came up, and I don't want to say Susan Mercer said it, but I had the understanding that the 15 hours of staff development would be part of the 20, and everyone's like, oh, we can double dip, and then, so we.
Okay.
Paul, just to touch on that.
Well, yeah.
We're, when Sue was there at the summertime, she had talked about teachers that were there before we made the election at that point. We had to vote. She said those hours could be counted. The hours that we did do, the next 2 days afterwards, those 12 hours didn't count towards your 30.
They did?
But we got paid for
So,
them.
well, you have 30 hours overall. You
They
do.
were
But
contractual hours.
Yeah, because that was.
Still got paid for
When
them.
it comes, because those were not buyback days. Our buyback days are now during the school year. So those are the counts for buyback days.
Just tell us what we have to do.
Yeah.
Let me clarify some things. There's.
You need to write it
Guys,
out.
everyone's talking at
Yeah.
once.
If you guys give me a second, I can clarify. There's two things here. Yeah. There's two things. There's an MOU between the union and the district, and there are 30 hours included in that MOU. Okay.
What's an MOU?
Memorandum of understanding.
Okay,
So
right.
now, once that
We're not
MOU.
applying for administrative positions.
Once that, and here's the thing, once that MOU went into effect, it sort of started the timeline for those 30 hours. Now, we also have a Willard compact, separate from the union, okay? And there's 30 hours in that compact that we have to complete, okay? So we're clear here, there's two separate 30 hours, but it's weird because it's not 60 hours, okay? Now, hold on, before you ask the question, okay? So now, what they were saying with the buyback, not the buyback, but the staff development, counting towards the MOU. That's the 30 hours for the MOU through the union and the district. I know it can kind of get confusing. Okay, hold on though. Hold on though. So now, yeah, maybe a diagram. So once we voted on our compact, for those 30 hours. So for example, most of us before, if we went to the staff development, okay, you had 12 hours towards the MOU.
But not the compact.
But not the compact.
See, if you guys drew it out and wrote it all.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you know what? I left my Crayola markers in my, at home. Okay? I am sorry about that.
And if
But
the
we will,
compact goes
we will.
under
It's like a Venn diagram. It's like a Venn diagram. Here,
Double
look.
bubble,
Okay?
double bubble it.
It's like this. Like even if it's wrong. Like here's our compact 30. Here's the union 30.
And then we
See?
get another one.
They can cross over. Okay, no, I'm just playing. But, see?
Wow, engaging.
I'm entertaining and engaging, huh? See? But no, so you gotta understand, no, so they can cross over, Yeah, that's the difference. So the compact hours were, unfortunately, normally your compact, like next year our compact will be in effect in June. So everything from July 1st on will count if we have those hours in there. It was just the crossover on that, okay? Now,
Can I just jump in there real quick and say, the overarching principle of this is that we have that contractual agreement that we all have to fulfill as educators and standing, and we at Willard have said we're doing above and beyond. So a lot of the questions that we get, and by the way, don't stop asking questions, you guys, because all year, I don't think this is a bad thing. I mean, all year we're going to have questions come up, and does this work and does that work? Don't feel like you're nagging if you come ask me or Lloyd or Paul or anybody in the room, okay? It's not nagging. We just want to clarify those things. And I guarantee you that even after we feel like we've clarified it, there will still be things that come up and you'll ask me and I'll look at you like a deer in the headlights and I'll go, that's a new one. And then I'll go get the answers for you. Okay, I'll find out. But let me tell you what the overarching principles that you could put in place right now that I think would help to clarify would be one, if it's during the contractual day, it's not going to meet the MOU or the compact. Does that make sense? Part of the contractual day. If it's paid for, like it's a buyback hours, so if you went to one of the buyback trainings, you're being paid for that buyback hours.
Buyback is part of your contractual hours.
It's in your salary.
Just like your
It's in your
7:30
salary.
to 2:30 during the week.
Now, if you, however, went to a training like some of you went to OCDE on Friday night, and it wasn't part of your buyback hours, that counts.
Even though we get paid, it still counts?
Hold on. Now that's the thing, there's some confusion. Here's a confusion also. People are like, basically the MOU says, if I'm doing something that's normally paid in the bargaining agreement, we're not changing the bargaining agreement. So for example, if I'm planning, and the bargaining agreement says that I get paid factor A, I get paid factor A for that planning. It's not double dipping. If I'm running activity with kids, you know, and it's above and beyond the school day, spending some time. I mean, let's say it's a club. Once clubs are approved, clubs in our collective bargaining agreement are not paid, but you would get an hour or so towards the compact and the MOU for running a club.
Can we get hours for chaperoning a dance?
Yes, but you would not be paid for that.
No,
Well,
we
now,
don't
yeah,
get
exactly.
paid, but can
So
we
you
use
get-
it as
The chaperone.
a-
So hold on.
guys.
So wait. So here's the thing, guys. Hold on. So now you're on to something. You understand?
Yeah.
So it's not that you're going to get paid for every single one of those 30 hours. If the bargaining agreement says you get paid for it, you get paid for it. If it's something that's voluntary, then you don't. Okay? Dinesh, you understand? Oh, sorry, Lydia. Lydia.
Yeah,
Lydia,
I have
then
a
Mr.
question.
Gore, then.
One of the things
Go ahead, go to
under
school.
the 20 hours is conferences. And I was wondering, does that entail a conference you have with a parent after school, like at 2:30 till 3 or
The
something?
20 hours, curriculum development, parent involvement, and/or intervention, as directed by the school site plan. Now, parent involvement,
And conferences.
Can you put this on the
parent-teacher conference, parent involvement,
There's
if it's
no
happening
conferences
outside.
there.
And so let me go
We've already
back.
gone over all this.
You want to go
Yeah,
ahead?
but this takes
So
another.
let me throw out there that ILT met on this, and obviously part of our responsibilities as educators is parent contact. Part of our responsibility is working with students that need more time and help. So if it's something within your own context of your regular day that you would do as an educator, that every other educator in San Diego does, professional duties, thank you, then that's not going to count for the hours. However, we did say within departments, you guys can set up some structured ways that you want to help the whole department. So for example, if I'm a language arts teacher and I'm meeting with a parent because one of the students isn't turning their homework, I'm not going to put that down as meeting the compact hours. Does that make sense? It's part of my professional duties.
You'd be
However,
American?
if I,
Do on
within
Fridays.
language arts, we said we're going to do some intervention, and we want to pull in all of our students together and have an intervention after school, I'm now fulfilling a need that our team agreed upon. That's what the compact hour is. So I would just kind of keep that in place when you're thinking about it. Does that kind of clarify it? Is that...
No, because somewhere on the form
Dinesh
it said
first, and then you, Aaron.
Well, and I thought that was so the key thing is there has to be quantifiers, because if I stay every day and I just tutor kids or whatever, but there's no specific purpose or objective, then that doesn't count. But if I talk to Miss Stiles and we're like, hey, we're gonna have a boot camp and it's 3 hours or whatever to
Bingo.
go over the Constitution, that's a specific purpose.
If
And
you
then-
look on there, if you look on the form, it says a departmental structure. And I'm saying a lot of you are doing this. For example, create a structure within your department so that you can service multiple students, not just your students. And have a schedule and we're coming to
Have them sign in and...
Yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, and I was gonna say like, cause we're all starting these common assessments this year, and so if we set up and we say, hey, you know what, we're gonna create study guides as curriculum development, but as a safeguard, would you guys just advise any teacher so we don't feel like we put hours in and then we're like, hey, that didn't count? If we come up with a specific purpose, we just run it by the ILT and get approval first, so that way we just safeguard.
I would run it by your department chair and your
Who's then takes it
ILT
to
rep,
ILT, so then we
because
safeguard
they are
it.
there at ILT representing your department. Okay? Yeah.
Ms. Vandermeer.
I don't know which form it it was, but somewhere it said detention.
Now, and that was perfect. Now, as we did
So
there,
I'm
if you
doing
look
all
on the
these
form that went out,
detentions, and I'm finding out they don't count for
because
anything.
they clarified if you're holding kids for detention for corrective teaching, not disciplinary detention.
For not
You
doing
know,
your
in
homework, not doing your work.
in the structure of your department. So if your department creates a structure, for example, as a homework lab, and you're detaining the kids to redo homework, there's a schedule within your department that will count.
Okay,
It's not just my kid didn't do their homework, I'm holding it.
We just did that, okay?
Right.
But he said sorry, Dennis.
Right.
But it's during lunch, and so that's during my instructional day, so
Yes,
it
it
doesn't
is.
count.
Apparently not according to the district.
Lunch is it's not, you have a non-duty lunch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But now,
And that's okay, thank you for clarifying that, when we said, yeah, your lunchtime, if you guys as a department decide you wanna have a lunchtime detention, and you're servicing the whole department, you're not just bringing your students in.
And how many groups do you need?
Just coach a sport.
but the thing they
I'm
decided
coaching 4
though,
or 5
that it was
sports.
a teaching detention, it wasn't a disciplinary action. And remember the ILT all agreed on that. You know, it was for re-teaching, not for discipline.
So I'm gonna
They did
give those
agree.
cards to Hannah, and then do you want to borrow it to Hannah? And then do you want to borrow them after?
But I mean, I'm just saying, that's why I go to the
I
ILT.
don't know if they still have them at Lakeshore.
So let me do this, let me do this, Blair, sorry. Hey guys, only because I feel bad that I'm violating one of our norms of always getting out here on time, and you know we don't do that, but why don't we give you guys, now that I think we've answered some big chunks, let you go ahead and kind of debrief on this a little bit. These guys both agreed that on Tuesday they'll be available, I guess, here in the library again on Tuesday.
You wanna drive? I will bring my kids' Crayola markers tomorrow, watercolors, flash them up. No, just
I'm
wait.
gonna sit down with you, we're gonna do a full chart.
And so you guys know, people always come to me. I'm not the keeper of the 30 hours. As far as I'm concerned, we're all there, huh? You know? But
I think, so Tuesday, if you specifically have specific things you want to ask about, I say before Tuesday, come ask me, come ask anybody. We'll kind of go over the same idea of putting it in the slot. I guarantee you some of you will ask questions that I won't have answers for, but I'll get it.
Nothing natural. She's been eating.
And on Tuesday, let's do a meeting in here. Anybody wants to come to flesh this out more?
Unfortunately, it took 1
I
minute.
think the easiest thing for everybody is if they were just keep it simple for someone. It's just bullet points. If we could have an email with like 10 bullet points.
You did them with yourself. Is she like once a month or so? I would have known.
okay, so you want
Personality, I never would have known.
what is and what is.